These are the only three American-made bench vise brands still casting their products in America, and one of them almost didn't make it. If you've gone shopping for a bench vise recently, you've probably noticed something. Almost everything on the shelf comes from China or Taiwan. Brands that used to be synonymous with American manufacturing have quietly shipped their production overseas, and most consumers never even noticed. Yost, once proudly cast in Meadville, Pennsylvania, then Holland, Michigan, now entirely made in Asia. Irwin, Olympia, Wen, HFS, all imports. But three brands are still pouring molten iron in American foundries and machining vices on American soil. And understanding who they are and why they're holding on tells you a lot about the state of manufacturing in this country right now. Start with the heavyweight, Wilton. The legend of Wilton begins in 1941, when a Czech immigrant named Hugh W. Vogel founded a vice manufacturing company in Chicago. The story of how it got its name is almost too simple to believe. Vogel was standing near the company's address on Wrightwood Avenue when someone asked what the new company would be called. He looked up, saw the cross-street sign reading Wilton Avenue, and that was it. But what Vogel built was anything but casual. He designed a 4-inch vise with a completely enclosed thread mechanism, a patented design that became known as the Bullet Vise. That enclosed thread kept contaminants out and lubrication in, giving the vise smooth operation for years. The steel key built into the base guided the movable jaw through a precisely broached keyway, machined to 0.02 of an inch tolerances, and for 1941, that was exceptional engineering. From 1941 through 1945, every single Wilton vise sold went exclusively to the United States government for the war effort, and that decision nearly killed the company. When the war ended, the government dumped its surplus tools onto the open market at massive discounts. Wilton vises flooded the marketplace, and since the company had never built a civilian distribution network, they suddenly found themselves competing against their own product selling for pennies on the dollar. It almost bankrupted them. Hugh Vogel survived that crisis, and together with his son Alex, who joined the company in 1951, they built the distribution network they should have had all along. By the 1950s, during the automotive boom, Wilton became the brand of choice. They moved from Chicago to Schiller Park, Illinois in 1957, opened a facility in Winchester, Tennessee for hobbyist and DIY vises in the 1970s, and by the 1990s had acquired the Warren Tool Group, which included the legendary Colombian Vise brand, founded in Cleveland in 1893, and one of the most respected names in American vise manufacturing for nearly a century. Then came the ownership changes. In 2002, the Swiss holding company Walter Meyer acquired Wilton through the WMH Tool Group and moved production to Carpentersville, Illinois. Offices relocated to Laverne, Tennessee in 2008. Then in 2014, New York-based 10X Capital Management bought the entire portfolio, including Jet and Powermatic, and renamed it JPW Industries. And here's where it gets painful for a lot of people. The Wilton Tradesman line, those workhorse bench vises made in America since 1968, moved to Taiwan in 2018. 50 years of American production, gone. The kicker? The old USA-made Tradesman and the new Taiwan-made Tradesman carried exactly the same price tag, $590. Same price, different country of origin. As one frustrated consumer put it, "I don't pay USA prices for import tools." Others pointed out the obvious. If Wilton wasn't passing cost savings on to customers, why not just buy a cheaper import? This actually wasn't the first time Wilton tried offshoring. They moved some Tradesman models to China years earlier. The 1740, 1750, and 1760. And American users raised so much noise about the quality drop that Wilton brought production back home. But the 2018 move to Taiwan stuck, and this time the backlash hasn't reversed it. So what's still made in America? Only the Machinist and combination lines. The Bullet Vises, the C0 through C3, combination pipe and bench vices, those are still manufactured in Carpentersville, Illinois. Everything else, the Tradesman, the Pro Vise, has gone overseas. Now let's talk about a brand most people haven't heard of. Milwaukee Tool and Equipment Company. And no, this is not the Milwaukee that makes your cordless drill. This is a completely separate company that has been in business since 1877. Nearly 150 years. Let that sink in. Milwaukee Tool and Equipment makes quick-release bench vices right here in the United States. They're a small operation, and they've kept it that way on purpose. No flashy marketing, no Super Bowl ads. Just a company that has been quietly producing quality, American-made vices while bigger brands packed up and left. In 2020, Lake Erie Tool Works announced a partnership with Milwaukee Tool and Equipment to address growing demand for metal bench vices made in America. And that partnership tells you something important. The demand is real. People want American-made vices. The question has always been whether anyone can make them profitably. The third brand is the newest and arguably the most ambitious. Fireball Tool. If you're into fabrication or welding, you probably know Fireball from their modular fixturing tables. Their hardtail vise, though, is something else entirely. It comes in two versions, a USA-made version and a Taiwan-made version, and the company is completely transparent about the difference. The USA version is cast and machined in America, and it costs $3,800 shipped. The Taiwan version runs $1,800. That price gap represents exactly what it costs to manufacture in the United States versus overseas. No games, no pretending, just math. And it's worth noting that the current tariff environment and reshoring economics have made that gap even more visible. The cost of offshoring isn't just about labor anymore, it's about supply chain exposure, and more manufacturers are starting to do that math. The USA-made hardtail is cast from ductile iron rather than standard gray cast iron, a meaningful distinction. Ductile iron has significantly higher tensile strength and impact resistance than gray cast iron, which is part of why this vise performs the way it does under extreme load testing. And what you get for that money is staggering. The Fireball hardtail has been tested to 90,000 pounds of clamping force, making it the strongest production bench vise ever built. It carries a 14-inch jaw opening, the largest of any production bench vise in the world, with a 6.5-inch jaw width and 265 pounds of total mass. In drop hammer testing, the hardtail survived 283 strikes from an 88-pound drop hammer. A Wilton failed at 2 hits. A reed vise, Reed Manufacturing, once one of America's most storied vise makers out of Erie, Pennsylvania, failed at 10. The fact that a new American manufacturer is now outperforming those legacy benchmarks in destructive testing is not a small thing. Demand has been so overwhelming that USA-made hardtails won't be available for purchase until August 2026. Now there's an important question lurking behind all of this. Why are there only 3 brands left? The answer comes down to people. Good cast iron foundries in the USA are disappearing. The metallurgists and foundry workers who know this craft are retiring, and very few young people are stepping in to replace them. According to a 2024 report from Deloitte and the Manufacturing Institute, half of the 3.8 million anticipated manufacturing jobs over the next decade could go unfilled. Americans are simply not lining up for foundry work. The American Foundry Society's CEO, Doug Kirkle, described 2024 as an unusually weak year, with sales across many foundries stagnating or declining outright. The forecast for 2025 is only a 1.9% increase, and that average masks significant differences between individual foundries. So where does that leave us? Wilton is still casting machinist and combination vices in Carpentersville, Illinois, carrying on a legacy that started with a Czech immigrant and a street sign. Milwaukee Tool and Equipment keeps doing what they've done since 1877, quietly and reliably. And Fireball Tool is proving that if you build something extraordinary enough, and you build it from ductile iron on American soil, people will pay what it actually costs to make it here. 3 brands. That's what's left. Every one of them is worth knowing about, because the window for American-made bench vices is closing. The foundries are struggling, the workforce is shrinking, and the economics keep pushing production overseas. If these 3 hold the line, they won't just be vice manufacturers. They'll be the last link to an era of American toolmaking that most people have already forgotten.